1039 LI News Radio presents Meet the Candidates with Jay Oliver.
And welcome to LI News Radio 1039 and Meet the Candidates. We are very pleased to have here Mili Makhijani. Hope I got that right.
Yes, you did. Thank you, Jay. Thank you for having me here.
Great to have you. Mili is running for the clerk's position in Oyster Bay, town clerk.
That is correct.
And you have an interesting background. You were telling me that you were a law clerk at one time in Nassau County for the Supreme Court. And it's kind of interesting. Was that your first venture as far as being an attorney and kind of making your way up that ladder?
No, Jay. Actually, I went to Toro Law School.
Okay.
And I graduated in 2007. And upon graduation, I entered private practice, and I worked as a civil rights attorney for about 3.5 years.
Interesting.
After that, I was appointed as a law clerk to a justice in the Supreme Court in Nassau County.
So how did you get to the point where, did people say, you know what, you ought to get into politics? Town clerk's position, did somebody kind of lead you to this type of way, this venture?
Well, I was involved in politics in assisting with other people's campaigns, usually judicial campaigns. So I didn't have firsthand experience with a public office campaign, but I was involved in the political arena in Nassau County. I was heavily involved in the Bar Association. I went to a lot of events, and I was actually approached by the Democratic Party. And they liked my resume and told me to look at the position. I looked into the town clerk's position. I thought it was a great position for me. I've been a resident of the town of Oyster Bay since I'm a child, and I've seen a lot of changes in the town. And I thought I could take my law degree and my finance degree and serve the needs of the residents of the town.
Well, before we get into the position of what the town clerk actually does, we should point out that if Mili does win this election, you'll become the first Indian woman to actually be in political office?
That is
that
correct,
true?
Jay. It's a very exciting time. If I win, I could potentially be one of the first Indian Americans elected to public office in the town.
Wow. Now, is that kind of a pioneering thought in your mind that you're kind of going to pave the way a little bit, or no? Does that ever enter the mind?
It started to enter my mind after I was nominated. The demographics have certainly changed in the town of Oyster Bay. We have a large Indian American population now that's growing year by year. Mm-hmm. And when you have a change like that throughout a town, it's important to have more diversity in government, in local government. And it's important for groups of people to have a voice. So it would make history. It's an exciting time, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
We had Donna Len here a couple of weeks ago, and she's running for Suffolk County Town Clerk. And in essence, it's all about records. Does that hold true as far as your office?
Yes,
what you hope to achieve?
I have to say, Jay, it is probably one of the least sexiest positions to be running for, is a clerk's position. But it's a very important position. The town clerk has a lot of different hats. We're the commissioner of vital records. We're the commissioner of the Freedom of Information law. So when there's a Freedom of Information law request by a resident, it's our responsibility to process those requests and make sure they are processed efficiently and effectively and in a timely manner. We're also the secretary to the town board, so we run the town board meetings.
So you have to keep everything posted and everything written down and make sure everything's on record.
Absolutely, absolutely. You have to make sure that everything's transparent and the public is aware of what's going on during those town board meetings. And we also are the commissioner of licenses and permits. We have the power to marry. We issue animal licenses. We issue car permits if you want to park at the train station or the beach, for boats, for clamming, fishing, etc.
Now, how far do the records go back in Oyster Bay? When I was talking to Donna way back, records, a couple hundred years actually they have. Is that same hold true in the towns?
I don't know exactly how far it goes back, but it certainly should be over 100 years. So you need a system that works effectively so that when you do get a FOIL request, you can access those records quickly and you can then respond to the request of the resident.
Now, what if a record is not intact, let's say for a FOIL type of situation. Whose responsibility? It's the town clerk's, I'm sure, but is there a way to trace back that information if it's not kept properly?
I would have to say that once I'm in the town clerk's office, I would see what type of mechanisms they have to retrieve information that is lost or destroyed. And if it's not a system that is working effectively now, I would try to implement a system. That would be one of my orders of business.
Interesting. And how, as far as the post is concerned, town clerk, how many years is it?
It's a 2-year position, so
Okay.
you would have to run every 2 years.
Okay.
It is an elected position. And actually, I am not running against an incumbent. It's an open seat.
Okay.
Which means that my opponent was not elected to the position, rather he was appointed to the position a few months ago.
Gotcha. Now, do you think this could pave the way for other things down the road? Not in this position yet, but do you have aspirations to kind of stay on the island and maybe climb the ladder, or you're going to wait and see what happens, kind of?
Well, I definitely want to be the town clerk. I can't say right now how many terms I would stay in that position, but once I feel as though I did my job there, which is to update the office, to make some necessary changes in the office, if all goes well, yes, I would like to then see how I can better serve the public in some higher position.
Gotcha. You said you grew up in Oyster Bay? You grew up in the Hicksville area?
I did. I was born in Queens.
Okay.
I'm a first-generation
Whereabouts
Indian.
Queens?
In Kew Gardens.
Okay. I'm a Bayside guy.
Okay. All right. I went to PS 99.
Okay.
And at around 8 or 9 years old, my family moved to Long Island, and I lived in Hicksville, Jericho, Old Westbury. So I've always been in the town of Oyster Bay from when I was young.
Okay.
Graduated from Holy Family, which is in Hicksville, and I'm also a graduate of Jericho High School in Jericho.
Well, listen, we wish you the best of luck. And that's Mili Makhijani running for the town clerk's post in Oyster Bay. And a couple of weeks away.
Yes, it's
Not far.
3 weeks from today.
Seems like an eternity sometimes, right?
I wish I had a little longer, but that will have to do.
We wish you the best of luck. And for LI News Radio 103.9, I'm Jay Oliver. Have a great day.